It started out with just a headache, losing my vision, and I couldn't walk. It was really weird because I went from running 6 miles a day to not being able to even stand or sit up or anything. Then over time it progressed, and now it is affecting my GI tract, so my stomach or intestines don't really work. I have peripheral neuropathy, so nerve pain. I've had a consistent headache since February of 2012. And I have POTS and autonomic dysfunction, so I faint a lot, and whenever I stand up, my blood pressure drops and my heart rate.
I've had fatigue for over 3 years, and I have a lot of ones that have changed. I have constant headaches that started 2.5 years for headaches, and for a little over a year I've had autonomic dysfunction, which is where when you change positions, everything gets blurry and I get dizzy. It's because of a drop in blood pressure. Recently, the last couple months, I've had muscle spasms.
He started out with a respiratory infection, and then probably 3 or 4 weeks later, he lost his ability to walk and stand, and he was holding on to stuff to be able to navigate around. And so they brought in a neurologist to do a consult because they thought maybe he had Guillain-Barré syndrome. And the neurologist looked at him and basically just discounted and said, no, it's not that, and ruled it out. And it was weeks later. I mean, that was in October, and it was February or March before we saw Dr. Teasley. And by that point, he was so incapacitated, he couldn't even lift his arm and hold it up, and I was having to help brush his teeth. I mean, it was that bad. So it was a journey. And then once we found Dr. Teasley and she started examining him, she pretty much immediately determined that she thought maybe he had a mitochondrial disorder.
He was breaking bones all the time. The mitochondrial was causing low bone density, and he would look at a wall and and he would break something.
He dropped the dishwasher handle on his foot. The whole door came down, and he broke his foot in 2 places. I mean,
and all it was the dishwasher. So it's because you're piecing together things like that you don't realize there's a bigger picture going on at the same time. And he would show up at a hospital and be having seizures from dehydration. So it made it appear as why is he not keeping, fluids in? Well, he's having just as much fluids as the rest of us.
She's too sleepy, she's spitting up more than other kids, and she's not outgrowing it when other kids are outgrowing it. That was sort of the first red flag, that she didn't have enough energy. There's this book when you're new parents that says, your baby, you should expect to see them start to hold their head up at around this age. You should expect that they're going to roll over in the neighborhood of this age. That really wasn't happening with Claire. It's like she just didn't quite have enough stick-to-itness. She would run out of gas. Clearly seemed to have some issues with fatigue and energy expenditure, but also she had a couple of different organ systems that had problems, and they didn't appear to be related to each other. So she had this GI system that didn't appear to function normally. She also had started to develop some seizures that they weren't bad. We weren't even sure they were seizures at first. And she was having these gross motor delays. That was when doctors first started to suspect she had mitochondrial disease.
first semester of sophomore year, it felt like I had the flu for like ever. All the testing was negative, so they couldn't find anything wrong with me. It wasn't until I passed out in school that they realized something was wrong.
Check out the VCU Bioenergetics website to learn more about mitochondrial disease and support.